Bob Crane had everything a 1960s actor could want. He charmed audiences as Colonel Robert Hogan, the intelligent leader in Hogan's Heroes, with his perfect smile and quick wit. He was fascinating off-screen with his sharp humor and kind nature. He appeared friendly on TV, but his life was disintegrating in ways few could understand. A career founded on laughter ended in betrayal, scandal, and a terrible death that left more questions than answers. The star rises. Bob Crane was famous on Los Angeles radio before appearing on TV. The man of 1,000 voices presented a famous morning show on KNX, interviewing Marilyn Monroe, Bob Hope, and Charlton Heston. Hollywood's elite loved his fast improvisation and confidence. Even Walt Disney considered him the West's quickest wit. He became an actor after radio success. Famous TV writer Carl Reiner visited on Crane's radio show in 1961 and offered him a guest position on Dick Van Dyke as a philandering husband. That one position led to several, including a regular appearance as a happy-go-lucky dentist on Donna Reed. Crane's agent sent him Hogan's Heroes script in 1965. He believed it was a military drama, but it was a comedy about Allied POWs outwitting their foolish German captors. Hogan's Heroes was a hit despite its unique premise. The Colonel Robert Hogan role made Crane famous. The six-season sitcom from 1965 to 1971 earned him 2 Emmy nods and made him a TV star. His visage was on billboards, lunch cartons, and periodicals nationwide. Millions saw him as the smiling, smart leader with a plan. On screen, Crane lived his dream. Even at the height of his fame, friends saw changes. His personal life deteriorated, his hunger for thrill increased, and his off-camera behavior suggested an obsession that would consume him. However, the world only saw the laughter and secret double life for now. The smile and charm that made Bob Crane famous hid a very different reality. In the mid-1960s, his photography became more intimate. First, he liked playing with cameras, capturing photos, and testing video gear. Eventually, the camera became more than a hobby. His private life revolved around it. The turning point was when his Hogan's Heroes co-star Richard Dawson introduced him to Sony Electronics video equipment salesperson John Henry Carpenter. Carpenter gave Crane access to cutting-edge technologies through his Hollywood connections. The two became fast friends over their love of recording gear. Carpenter helped him set up gadgets in motels while traveling. A curiosity-based friendship turned into behavior that worried Crane's closest pals. They started going to bars and nightclubs, where Crane's fame garnered attention. He introduced Carpenter as his manager, and the two became close, traveling and experimenting with new gadgets. Some found this harmless fun, but others were worried by Crane's apparent dependence on filming. Colleagues noted his distraction, more interested in his hobbies than his old job. The stress affected his personal life. After over 20 years, he divorced his high school sweetheart and mother of 3, and Tertian. He married Patricia Olson, Sigrid Valdez from Hogan's Heroes, but the same problems persisted. Even during filming Disney's 1973 family flick Superdad, Crane's behavior offset worried executives, damaging his reputation. Crane lost his TV stardom during the late 1970s. Stage projects kept him busy, and he seemed keen to revive his career. However, his connection with Carpenter was strained. Crane told friends he wanted to move on, abandon old habits, and start over. But by summer 1978, it was too late. Scottsdale murder. Bob Crane was performing beginner's luck at the Windmill Dinner Theater in Scottsdale, Arizona, in June 1978. At 49, 2 weeks before his 50th birthday, he seemed ready to change course. Friends said he discussed divorcing Patricia Olson and abandoning his connection with John Carpenter. His goal was to clean the slate. He died suddenly and tragically before taking that step. In the afternoon of June 29th, co-star Victoria and Barry checked on Crane after he missed a lunch meeting. She found a scene that haunted Hollywood for decades at his Winfield Place apartment. Crane was found dead in bed. A camera tripod may have caused his severe head injuries, according to police. An electrical cord was located near him, but it did not kill him. Detectives were especially uneasy about the quiet room. Nobody stole anything, and there was no forced entry. Whoever was accountable was Crane's trustworthy guest or someone who entered as he slept. That small group of suspects immediately identified John Carpenter. He flew to Phoenix days previously to visit Crane. The night before, they had supper and reportedly watched some secret tapes. Carpenter said he returned to his motel. His timeline was disputed by witnesses. A personal side of Crane was shown at the crime scene. The flat had cameras, tripods, tapes, and cables with shocking recordings, according to police. Hogan's Heroes popular star was abruptly recast in media as a man struggling privately. His family was devastated at the news. Investigators used it as a hint and a distraction. The equipment linked Crane's private life to Carpenter, but the dramatic evidence hindered truth-finding. Initial indications showed this was no random break-in. It was personal. Investigation and trial. Scottsdale police were unprepared for a large case in 1978. Without a homicide division, crime scene inaccuracies plagued detectives for decades. Detectives took tapes, photos, and recording equipment from Crane's flat, but evidence management was irregular. Friends and family, including Crane's eldest son Robert, entered the flat before it was secured, leaving fingerprints, hair, and footprints that exacerbated the situation. John Carpenter was suspected despite these concerns. He had stayed nearby, spent the night with Crane, and his rental car had bloodstains that matched Crane's kind. DNA testing was unavailable and blood type alone could not prove guilt. The Maricopa County District Attorney declined to press charges without a weapon or fingerprints. Carpenter returned to Los Angeles with a ruined reputation. The case remained silent for over 10 years. Detectives Barry Vassell and Jim Raines reopened the files in 1990. Advances in DNA testing gave them hope. An old Carpenter automobile inside photo showed a biological piece they found. Although the original samples were lost, the discovery allowed prosecutors to proceed. Carpenter was arrested and charged with Crane's killing in 1992. A courtroom scene unfolded during the 1994 trial. Crane's choice to abandon their friendship angered Carpenter, according to the prosecution. They showed blood evidence, Crane's relationship with Carpenter, and Scotty's testimony that his father had frequently threatened to cut Carpenter out of his life. The defense questioned the evidence's credibility. They noted that the tripod explanation was speculative, the crime scene was inadequately maintained, and the critical biological material was missing. They also suggested additional suspects, such as Crane antagonists. The jury remained unconvinced after weeks of testimony. In 1994, Carpenter was acquitted. He was innocent till his 1998 death. No resolution was reached, so the case was returned to the cold files. Family strife and scandal. Trial offered no solace to Bob Crane's children. Robert, his eldest son, noted how hard it was to see his father's private life exposed. Testimony and evidence in court distracted from Crane's decades in radio and television. The trial only raised additional concerns and damaged his family. Robert David Crane, another son, later suspected Patricia Olson, Crane's second wife, played by Sigrid Valdis, had a deeper involvement to events. He said Bob's will left Olson his whole assets, excluding his children and first wife. Robert David said only one individual benefited. Though prosecutors never considered Olson a suspect, the rumor deepened the family's agony. Crane's son Scotty also saw his father's portrayal as problematic. He said many on the recordings were voluntary participants, but media coverage rarely revealed subtlety. Crane was a pioneering radio broadcaster and Emmy-nominated actor, but headlines portrayed him as a fallen star scandalized. His darker story overshadowed his theater and movie accomplishments. The July 1978 funeral showed Hollywood's love for Crane. Celebrities like Patty Duke, Carol O'Connor, and John Astin were among 200 mourners at St. Paul the Apostle Church in Los Angeles. His Hogan's Heroes co-stars were pallbearers. Hollywood seems to gradually withdraw in subsequent years. Hogan's Heroes reruns fell. Crane was rumored for controversy more than talent. His family suffered the most from this cut. Though complex and flawed, the man they knew was loving, amusing, and gifted. Instead of being remembered for his joy, he was locked in time as the subject of an unresolved case, his achievements buried under a cloud that never lifted. Final tragedy, Hollywood's memories, and new DNA tests. Scottsdale police and Maricopa County prosecutors revisited Bob Crane's case after John Carpenter's 1994 acquittal. Technological advances gave DNA promise of succeeding where 1970s forensic approaches failed. Phoenix television reporter John Hook was allowed to retest Carpenter's rental vehicle blood samples in 2016. Using contemporary methods, scientists detected two male DNA sequences. One belonged to an unidentified male, while the other was too degraded to determine. Crucially, the tests consumed all remaining material, preventing further investigation. Again, the matter remained pending. This upset Crane's family. In 2015, his son Robert wrote Crane, "Sex, Celebrity, and My Father's Unsolved Murder, admitting closure will never come." Being in a fog after his father's death was his description. Scotty resisted popular culture depictions of his father. Scotty disputed the 2002 film Autofocus's dramatic portrayal of Crane. He even developed BobCrane.com to distribute records and data he believed painted a more complete picture of his father's life. Still, Crane's reputation suffered. Hollywood usually discusses him with controversy. Hogan's Heroes, his best work, is often mentioned alongside his unresolved case. A trailblazing show is now eclipsed by its star's mystery. Crane is most known to the public as the guy of an unfinished story, not the talented improviser or charismatic colonel. How he died and is remembered is tragic. Bob Crane spent decades making people laugh in unexpected places and garnering national acclaim. However, one night in Scottsdale and the disclosures that followed changed his legacy. His life ended in betrayal and grief, his case unanswered and his memory unsettled. Bob Crane's tragedy is one of Hollywood's saddest. An actor who made millions laugh was destroyed by secrets and an unsolved crime. His family still seeks answers decades later, but the facts may be lost forever. What really transpired in Scottsdale that 1978 night? Leave a comment and like and subscribe for more untold Hollywood stories.